Hello, Jeffrey.
Hello.
Can you describe your job at Wintellect?
At Wintellect? Well, I'm one of the owners of the company. We've been in business for about 10 years now. We're a services company. We have training services, and one of the things I do a lot is I go to different companies and I teach programmers how to successfully use Microsoft technologies like .NET, the garbage collection, the C# programming language, Windows. And we also have consulting services, debugging services, where we'll go in, we'll help a company architect some piece of software or review some of the architecture or maybe fix bugs in some of their code. And Wintellect also has its own conference that we do twice a year in the United States. Usually it's in New York around April time, and then we do it in Redmond on Microsoft's campus in August timeframe. And I also, since I'm an owner of the company, I decide how much money we're going to spend on this and go to company meetings and things like that to talk about payroll and that kind of stuff too. But sometimes I do some of the consulting work as well, but because I teach a lot of the time, I can only work on short-term consulting projects, like a week or maybe 2 weeks, and that's about it. We have other people who do most of that one.
Can you describe your relation with Microsoft?
Yeah, I have been consulting. I've never been an employee at Microsoft, but I have been consulting in various teams at Microsoft for maybe the past 20 years, close to the past 20 years. Originally I started on the first 32-bit version of Visual Studio. The code name for it was Barracuda, way back when. Then I was on Windows Sound System for a while. I was even on Microsoft Golf for a little while, the golfing game. Then I was on Windows for quite some time. And then I was on the Common Language Runtime team. I was on the CLR team for about 8 years. I was on Indigo team for 6 months. And now I've been on a feature that's hoping to be part of Windows 8, which I've been working on for about the past 3 years now. And Windows 8, the planning is still going on, but I'm hopeful that this feature that I was a part of will actually see the light of day at some point. Okay. So I do a lot of consulting there. Microsoft likes that I work with outside companies a lot, so I can take the feedback and things that I've learned from helping consult and teach other programmers at these other companies. I can bring that back to Microsoft and tell Microsoft, well, here was a part of like the serialization engine that didn't work well for this particular company, and if there were these changes that were made to it, then it could work better in the future for them. And that's been a very good synergistic relationship.
Okay. Can you tell us why we need to read your latest book, CLR via C#, 3rd edition?
The 3rd edition? The book, well, I always think of the book as really focusing on the Common Language Runtime. And as hopefully many of you know, when .NET 3.0 shipped and when .NET 3.5 shipped, it was still CLR 2.0. And so I never revised my book for .NET 3.0 or 3.5. For .NET 4, they have actually made a bunch of changes to the CLR, so it seemed to be a good time for me to revise the book. And because the book does cover the C# language too, I now have in the book covers of C# 3 and C# 4 and CLR 4. And so there was a big enough of a change in all of that to warrant me refocusing my efforts on upgrading the book. So there's lots of new stuff in the book. In addition, .NET is about 10 years old now. So and I've been working with it even before version 1.0 shipped. So I have 10 years of real experience and going to companies and doing consulting work to help these companies, that I would like to think that my 10 years experience have really translated into the words on the page. And so the book's not just about, this is how this works and this is how this works, but it's really about here's how to use this effectively, and here's where, in what scenario this particular technology is good and where this technology is bad. I also cover a lot about debugging and performance tips in the book, which a lot of books just say, here's how something works, but they don't go into how it works under the covers and how you can use it more effectively. Also, I have been toying, so there's new chapters in the book, and there's, every chapter has been revised to cover all the new material and to work it in the best fashion. Also, I'd always toyed with the idea of writing a threading book because it happens to be an area of technology that I love, and I've been loving it since threads were introduced to Windows NT 3.1, which is like 18 years old now. And I've written about threading a lot in my Win32 books over the past several years, and I thought I have a lot more experience with that now too, and a lot more best practices and guidelines that I can impart to people with that. So I'd always thought about writing a threading book. But what I decided to do instead was to take the revision of CLR via C#, the third edition, and I put a whole 5 chapters on multi-core programming and concurrency and parallelism and asynchronous programming all into that book. So 1/5 of the book is really just about leveraging threads and how to use it in an efficient way. And so I think with the multi-core revolution that's upon us now and what's happening in software and with hardware, that the timing of this is perfect. And hopefully people will find those chapters to be very valuable.
Okay.